and away we blow.
She has no life. She has no friends. She's got no clue. She's trans and mental. She watches things. She watches you.
Hey guys, it's me, Patricia. Welcome to my house arrest. Welcome to my channel. So, I was just thinking a minute ago, I have reacted to so many anti-transgender clowns lately that I could start my own circus. Step right up and kiss my ass. But there's always room for one more, right? So, I went and consulted my crystal ball and the thing that tells me what I should and shouldn't react to, and it's never led me astray before, because as you can see, I am extremely popular and I could not have gotten this far on my own. So thank you, crystal ball and Google. Anywho, so I was given a name, Andrew Wilson. So I went to YouTube and typed the name in, and okay, this guy looks like a douchebag. I haven't seen any of his content, any of his videos or nothing. I haven't seen him in action, but just judging by the thumbnails and the kind of text on, the kind of text on the thumbnails themselves, yeah, this guy's going to really be a piece of work, I have a feeling, anyways. So yeah, that's what I'm going to check out, Andrew Wilson. And I guess that will complete Transphobia month here on Patricia Elise. Now, it does get kind of tiring always reacting to these just hateful videos. Hate in general is very tiring. To me anyways, it's exhausting. But I'm gonna go ahead and do it. If not for any other reason, then I'm stupid. Okay, having said that, I think me am ready to proceed. So on with the shit show.
Do you value truth?
Because of course I value truth, yeah.
Good. Then here's what's true. What's true is that if you're a man, you can't be a woman. And if you're a woman, you can't be a man. That's what's true.
I don't think it's helpful to get into the...
Hang on. I'll let you talk, but let me finish.
The rage comes from trans people existing, which is what I find extraordinarily dangerous. I work with trans people. Friends of mine are trans. The sort of the danger and the vitriol that is spread across our tabloids every single day, I have never, ever experienced or seen. And I honestly, I just think he needs a new bit. I think, maybe it would be...
I think she needs a new bit. All right, guys. This girl has proven herself to be quite insane. Andrew Wilson versus this woke transgender advocate are going to go to war on Piers Morgan Uncensored. You guys are really going to want to see this.
Helpful for him if he wrote a new show or wrote a new play and just left these people alone.
Let me bring Andrew Wilson in here. So Andrew, Graham Linehan, I'm not even sure if you're familiar with him, but he's he's one of the most successful comedy people in the country over here. But he's been at the centre of this debate for a long time with his very stark views about this trans issue. He's been bailed by the UK police, but only with the condition that he doesn't go on X. He wrote on Substack, in a country where paedophiles escape sentencing, where knife crime is out of control, where women are assaulted and harassed every time they gather to speak, the state have mobilised 5 armed officers to arrest a comedy writer. What is your response to that?
Well, his tweets are satirical in nature. It is comedy based. She's right. He shouldn't have been arrested, but she's also wrong in the fact that, look, people are done with the trans thing. They've had enough of it. This whole, they're just kind of regular people like you and me, but happen to dress up like with. No, that's not really what's going on. You've unleashed an entire fleet of mentally ill lunatics on the public, and now we have to deal with the fallout of it. We have to deal with having to deal with these people on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people are sick of it. This guy is just echoing the thing which is in a lot of our minds, which is that, hey, we're kind of tired of these mentally ill lunatics on our streets. We really are.
Ava?
I find that
Fucking
really
mentally ill
frightening.
lunatic,
I mean,
bitch.
why would you say someone was mentally ill because they feel they were born in the wrong body? I mean, does that give you pleasure or joy to just stamp down?
And I was born in Donald Trump's body, in my body, but I'm actually Donald Trump, right? You see these people who they take drugs, right? They get high and then they go, "I'm Jesus Christ. I am your Lord and Savior." You know what we call those people, right? We used to have this word. It was called retarded. Yeah, mentally retarded. We call these people retards back in the day. Back in the good old day, young chipper chap.
Down on someone's, personhood. What's the intent here?
Do you value truth?
Of course I value
here's what,
truth, yeah.
Good. Then here's what's true. What's true is that if you're a man, you can't be a woman. And if you're a woman, you can't be a man. That's what's true.
I don't think it's helpful to get into the...
Hang on. I'll let you talk, but let me finish.
You can change
Your
sex.
attempt to gaslight everybody into the opposition of this truth builds resentment. And it's that resentment that you have to deal with. And it's you have done it to yourself. Like most of these things, the left does it to themselves. It's very obvious. People are not going to accept this. The trans agenda has stalled, and it stalled out the LGBTQ agenda with it because you're trying to gaslight people into something which is obviously not true.
I think that, if you look just 30 years ago in the United Kingdom, we were treating
I'd like to talk
gay
to
men in the
Hey,
same way that we are now
Good.
treating trans people.
that.
The mood does shift and the mood moves. And, I think that the stalwart belief here that we need to hold is that if someone does feel that they are born in the wrong body, it does not affect me as a woman if they decide that they are going to be a
What about whenever they have full-on erections and they're in your locker room? What about that? What about whenever your daughter is subject to seeing another man's erect penis in the high school locker room?
Who is this?
That doesn't affect you?
Kissing it.
No, it doesn't affect you because you're single, you have no children, you don't care about your family or anybody besides yourself, and so you can resonate with the transgender who only cares about themselves as well. Oh!
trans woman. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't change the rape conviction
hang on.
rate.
All right,
It doesn't
Ava,
change the rate of assault.
Ava, I'll bring Ben in here, but let me just say, as somebody who's always, consider myself to be pretty liberal-minded, the moment this campaign started, for example, to allow trans women who are biological men and they become identified as trans women, okay, I've got no problem with people being trans. If they want to do that, I respect them. I want them to have rights to safety, equality, and the rest of it. But the moment somebody tries to persuade me that allowing biological men who identify as trans women to compete in women's sport against actual women with women's bodies, which are, because we separate the sexes and things like the Olympics.
Dude, Piers is the same broken record every time. What? I'm a trans ally. I love the trans. I make friends with them. I make love to them. But as soon as you get into sports, that's a little too far. I don't know. Am I Australian now? I sound like Jake Rattlesnake.
Olympics, which we know are inferior in terms of power and strength, endurance, and so on. The moment people try to persuade me that is fair and equitable, I think they are absolute lunatics. And I'm not even sure they even believe it when they say it. So part of the problem here, it seems to me, and I'll bring Ben in here to comment on this, but part of the problem is that the trans lobby has brought a lot of this stuff on themselves. Right? If they had just gone about this in a different way and had simply fought equality, I would be absolutely leading the charge. But
cease to exist?
Well, hang on.
What do you want them to do?
I want them to have equality and safety and fairness, but not at the expense of eroding.
No. They do exist. What do you mean cease to exist? They exist in harmony with their biology. Are we still lost here? Cease to exist? Like these people immediately just jump to like genocide. And it's like, no, they would still exist, but they would be walking in harmony with their biology.
Fuck all of them, man.
Oh my gosh, it's like, what? This is why people get upset when white people act like black people. Right? This is the whole cultural appropriation thing that like, is kind of upsetting. It's not really that upsetting. It's kind of minute, but at the end of the day, the truth is that you're supposed to act like yourself, not be something that you're not. I know it's crazy.
Women's rights, Ben.
Well, I agree with that. And fundamentally, the feeling that you're a woman when you're in fact biologically a man is a mental health issue. That's how it's defined. And of course, if someone wants to identify as a woman, even though they are a man, fine, that's their prerogative. But for the regulatory and legislative environment in which we now live, effectively to progressively discriminate in their favour, not for them to be equal, but for them to have the right to go into women's loos, compete with women in sport, go into women's prisons. All these things is an assault on the very form of liberalism that emancipated women and brought women to an equal footing with men. And now, in the pursuit of what I would call ultra-liberalism, we're setting aside women's rights. We've lost sight of common sense in our society. And what we've got to go back to is that commonsensical position. Just because a man identifies as a woman, that does not make him a woman. And he should not be allowed to infringe on women's space, personal
When was the
spaces.
last time that
Well, actually, I mean, it's no longer a question of opinion here, of individual opinions. The UK Supreme Court has said this.
Exactly.
The British Prime Minister has finally come around to saying,
Wow, that guy was definitely a dick. God. You go, girl. That chick that was standing up for us. That was cool. I don't understand what people have, what the big issue is with us. You know? Are people trying to say, is it like, I have a hard time figuring out, do people hate, do you hate trans people, or are you just trying to say you're not a woman? Is it like you're just not recognizing trans people as what we say we are? Or is it like a hate thing, like a bigoted, actual hate? Or both? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Well, how does it affect you in any way that I am a girl? How does that affect you? Not at all. People can change sex and genders, and they do it all the time. So, really, what else is there to say? But you're wrong. Men can change into women. Men cannot be women, but men can switch into women, or change into women. Yeah. That'd be a better way to describe it, or to put it. Men can definitely change it into women. They can't be women, okay? And the same vice versa. Guys, these people are just dumb. They're dumb, okay? And he was talking about, do you care about the truth? At the beginning of the video, do you care about the truth or something like? Do you care about the truth, or I can't remember how he worded it. Yeah, if you cared about the truth, you would know that science says that people can change sex and gender. Maybe not 100% chromosomes and everything, but yeah, just about. Guys, that's all I got for this video. Man, these videos give me a headache sometimes. Just all this hate that's out there. So mellow the fuck out, people, or go away. Good night, everybody.